Today marks the first commemoration of the International Day of Clean Energy. Why is this important? Clean energy has been shown to be more environmentally friendly than conventional fossil fuel-based options. As a byproduct, it will address the issue of climate change by reducing air pollution and is generally more efficient than non-renewable energy, which means it will benefit our pockets. So do your part to limit the usage of dangerous gases as we honor the day. Hello and welcome to another exciting edition of Jamaica Magazine. I am your host, Audrey Williams. Today we'll look at how we can all contribute to conserving the land, as well as the agricultural incentives available for farming and farming enterprises. All this and more when we return.
Everyone has the right to freedom of expression, even our children.
My voice matters.
Every child has a right to speak up. It's not like they can stay quiet forever, and everything they have to say is important. So that's why I think my voice matters.
At school and at home, every child's voice should matter.
In this school, nobody is more and nobody is less.
My teachers, my parents, they know who I am because they understand me and they know what I understand from what I don't.
I will encourage the students to do their best. I will say even if they do not get something they want, they might get something even better.
When emotions are close to the surface and we contemplate on life, we will all remember the phrase, "A child shall lead them."
My voice matters.
Good day, I'm Theodore Henry, and this is your JIS News for Friday, January 26, 2024. Good news is coming for residents who traverse the Runaway Bay to Brownstown Road, which will soon benefit from comprehensive rehabilitation works. Minister without portfolio in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, Everald Warmington, was recently on hand for the $204 million project's groundbreaking ceremony.
As we break ground today, let us remember that this ceremony signifies more than just the physical act of construction. It symbolizes a collective determination to build a better future where roads are the pathways to progress, connecting people, bridging gaps, and propelling Jamaica towards a new horizon.
Beyond reshaping and asphalting the road's surface, the project will involve the cleaning of existing drains and construction of new ones, in addition to the installation of stormwater culverts and retaining walls. Minister Warmington says attention will also be given to community roads off the main thoroughfare.
We understand the frustration caused by dilapidated roads, traffic congestion, and also the hindrance they pose to economic development. Therefore, we have formulated an inclusive and ambitious plan to address these challenges head-on.
He encouraged the responsible members of Parliament to conduct consultations with the communities in their constituency to identify the roads that need repair. Residents of Hanover are to benefit from improved water supply, with several projects set to come on stream. Prime Minister Andrew Holness outlined the major projects planned during a recent tour of the parish. Included in the developments is the Great River Water Treatment Plant expansion, which will see 5 million gallons of water added to the system per day at a cost of $34 million. 5,000 residents will benefit from the $700 million Rock Spring water supply improvement project. Work is to start in March on the Bamboo to Seaview Lookout water supply improvement project, to be done at a cost of $45 million. And the $34 million Merlin-Otti High Pipeline Extension project should benefit about 3,000 people. Prime Minister Holness says this is part of a bigger focus on rural development.
You want the conveniences and the amenities. You want good schools and access to healthcare. So the government does have in its budget programs for rural development.
Hanover will also soon be the beneficiary of upgraded facilities at the parish infirmary. Minister of Local Government and Community Development Desmond McKenzie recently broke ground for construction of a matron's quarters at the facility.
What this will do is to allow the matron, who is always on 24 hours call, to be on site so that if anything happens, she can respond in a timely manner and to give the kind of support that is required.
The matron's quarters will be built at a cost of $16 million, and the addition of furnishings is expected to bring that total to $20 million. In the meantime, a therapeutic park has been commissioned into service at the infirmary.
This groundbreaking and the opening of the therapeutic park is very significant because it is one of the new features of local government in terms of putting in the kind of comfort to keep our residents, occupied and to give them a sense of purpose. They can come out, they can sit, they can enjoy the fountain and the beautiful lights that adorn the fountain. They can even have their own little picnic using the gazebo. And this was done with love and consideration.
The therapeutic park came at a cost of $5 million. The Ministry of Health has taken its Know Your Numbers campaign to Ocho Rios, encouraging residents to practice self-care and avoid premature illness and death. The national campaign promotes regular health checks, proper diet, regular exercise, and adequate rest in support of the drive to reduce chronic, non-communicable diseases.
We say alcohol, very dangerous if you drink too much of it, so moderate. And the salt, sugar, and fats, we say you have to balance it. If you abuse those three things, you're likely to get hypertension, you're likely to get cardiovascular disease will lead to stroke, or heart attack, or cancer, or all of those things that will end you up one place. Hospital bed, ultimately to the morgue.
At the Ocho Rios stop, over 500 residents received free health checks and referrals, as well as nutrition and other counseling services. And finally, Prime Minister Andrew Holness is calling on students to use their talents to become more productive citizens, focusing on excellence to strengthen the economy. He made the appeal during a recent rap session at Racees High School in Hanover. Mr. Holness reinforced that Jamaicans, in particular students, must adopt a pro-growth mindset in their pursuit of excellence.
I want each and every one of you to believe that the God-given talents that you have, which we call your labor and your creativity and your enterprise and industry, your God-given talent, that you can do much more with it than you currently are doing.
As Jamaica approaches republic status, the Prime Minister is also encouraging the youth to abandon the transactional mentality of pay then do. Instead, he says young people should adopt a moral code based on working hard to benefit everyone if we are to restore excellence to the nation.
You are important to the country. You are important to the administration, the management, the running of the country. The country cannot survive without you. You are responsible for your country, inasmuch as your country is responsible for you.
And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Theodore Henry. Thanks for watching. Once upon a time in a Caribbean island known for its rich culture, natural beauty, lived a group of people who were buried in piles and piles and more piles of paper. Papers spanning back to the start of time. Then came a bright idea, harnessing technology to work smarter and not harder. The government of Jamaica is improving its operations to serve citizens better. Many services are now available online, and there's more to come. The Government of Jamaica, building a better public sector for all.
Here's a trivia. If you get into a car accident, what should you do next? Ready? Contact the police. Our next feature will give you more information on how and when to file a police report in case of a motor vehicle collision.
You know how they say accidents do happen, unexpectedly and often unintentionally. Though road safety experts no longer define these unfortunate incidents involving motor vehicles as accidents, they're certainly never intended. Unfavorable weather conditions, objects on the road, your miscalculation while driving, or another driver can cause crashes, even for the best defensive drivers. That's exactly why it's important to know how to respond in these situations. So, what do you do at that exact moment? What should be your next steps? And when and how should you file a police report?
For the number of reports that come to this station, perhaps it's on a basis of about 10 to 15 per day. That's the number of accidents per day. So after a road traffic accident, person should first try to clear the roadway if they are obstructing the traffic for other motorists. Secondly, drivers are expected to exchange vehicle documents, and the document should include their registration certificate, certificate of fitness, insurance certificate, and your driver's license information. Those are the essential 4 pieces of information that should be provided to both parties after an accident. Contact information is optional, but you have cases where a person tries to settle outside insurance, and that's now a civil matter. It's an agreement between both parties, so if they want to exchange contact information, that's also optional, depending on the intention that they have in terms of fixing the vehicle outside insurance or what.
Your next step? Making a police report about the collision. This is always a good idea. That way you have proof of exactly what happened and the scope of any injuries.
In terms of our approach as police officers for a motor vehicle accident, first the critical thing is to check for injuries, make sure that persons are okay. If there's a need for persons to be assisted to the hospital for any sort of treatment, we should make sure we render assistance to persons in need of that care first. Secondly, we check for the damage for the vehicles, make sure there is no obstruction along the roadway, and then we can treat with the documents or the exchange of particulars between both parties. After making a report of a motor vehicle accident, the next step that persons are advised to do is to make a report to their insurance company, and that's for another motorist. As it relates to a pedestrian persons who are injured, they are also advised to get the assistance of an attorney to file a personal injury claim against the party that is liable in the accidents. For follow-up visits, what we do, we have cases where persons are seriously injured, some of which are not able to make it to the station to give a report in the first instance. So what we try to do, whether the persons are hospitalized, we ensure that visits are made and that the person's conditions are updated as we go along. As we through the investigation, we ensure that the person's conditions are updated along the procedure.
But are you always required to report traffic collisions?
Not in all cases a report must be filed for accidents. We have situations where it could be a very minor mishap. For example, someone could be reversing from their garage, they could bump their gate. So in those cases, it's not necessary for them to make a report. But for other situations involving another motorist, or a case where a pedestrian or a property is damaged, a report is expected to be made, because persons at times are expected to make claims, whether from their insurance company or their attorneys, based on the damage received or the injuries they've sustained.
Studies from the World Health Organization, WHO, show that approximately 1.35 million people die each year as a result of road traffic crashes, and 3% of most countries' gross domestic product is spent on road traffic crashes.
The most common cause of motor vehicle accidents from my understanding it's mostly impatience on the part of some of the drivers and lack of knowledge as to how the roadways should be used. And I also believe the implementation of traffic signs at various areas would also aid the process, because most drivers are not aware of what to do at various parts of the roadway.
In the face of such figures, even the most careful driver can suddenly encounter a bit of bad fortune on the road. You know that saying, decisions can be like car accidents, sudden and full of consequences. So how about making the right decision to be responsible road users today?
Out of many, let us all unite. We are one people that will win this fight. Strong against corruption, yeah, this is right. So we should all unite and commit to the fight against corruption, that's the mission. Out of many, one people, there is no division. Seen it clearly, integrity is the vision. Only good can come from a nation that's filled with ambition. It's a must we facilitate growth, cause we want our children's future to be filled with hope. Out of many, let's all unite.
A message from the Integrity Commission.
Thank you for staying with us. The Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining has been striving to incorporate all Jamaicans in food sustainability in order to guarantee food security. As a result, they've given farmers and farming enterprises means of sustaining their production. Let's take a look.
The Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining, in its continuing effort to support Jamaican farmers and foster economic growth, is offering an incentive program. Currently, the ministry has 3 incentives for farmers and farming enterprises.
The approved farming enterprise, which has 2 parts, productive input relief, which we call PIR, the income tax relief. We also have 20% duty concession on vehicles for use in agriculture. And we also offer additional stamp duty waivers on raw materials for manufacturers. For approved farming enterprise PIR, this allows waivers on applicable duties and taxes on certain inputs for the production of primary products used in the course of conducting farming operations in 5 categories. The first category is agricultural crops, livestock, poultry, or dairy. And when we say production of primary products, we mean the cultivation, growth, breeding or rearing, or otherwise activities in these categories. Apiculture is another category, forestry, horticulture, and aquaculture. To be a beneficiary of the 20% duty concession incentive as well as the approved farming enterprise incentive, farmers or farming enterprises must be registered with the Rural Agricultural Development Authority, RADA. The application process for PIR, the first step is for the farmer or farming enterprise to apply through their parish, RADA parish office. The application is then sent to the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining, and we make a recommendation on your behalf to the Jamaica Customs Agency. The Jamaica Customs Agency conducts a verification visit and approval is given by them. This benefit is received at the port. The other part of the approved farming enterprise, income tax relief, through the Income Tax Act, it allows farmers or farming enterprises that can write off their losses incurred on the farm against profits of another trade or business. The process for this is, once again, you apply through RADA. The ministry makes a recommendation to the Tax Administration of Jamaica and the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service. Once this is done, a certification will be given by the Minister of Finance. For the 20% duty concession on vehicles used in agriculture, we have a criteria, of course. The first requirement is to have a minimal annual production gross return of 250,000. And then we have minimum requirements in terms of crops and livestock. So for example, for food crops, 3 acres at least, vegetables at least 2 acres, goats 300, pigs, coffee 3 acres, and all of this is available on RADA's website. For farms 1 to 10 acres, you're entitled to 1 vehicle. For farms 11 to 49 acres, 2 vehicles. And for farms over 50, you're entitled to 3 vehicles. And we must emphasize that the vehicles eligible are trucks, commonly known as pickups, not panel vans. The CC rating has a limit for gasoline 3,000 and for diesel 3,200. This process, once again, we show the importance of being registered with RADA. You apply through your RADA office. The ministry then makes a recommendation to the Jamaica Customs Agency. This is valid for 6 months. And then you will collect your copy from us and you take that to your dealer.
These incentives are intended to encourage farmers to save exponentially while opening new opportunities for expansion. To apply for these incentives, visit your local RADA office for more details. Now, begin to grow through incentives.
Trees clean the air and help to battle climate change. Trees produce oxygen, which we require to breathe. Trees provide millions of organisms that protect humans from disease. Trees help to prevent flooding and water pollution. Do I need to say more? We need trees. Our next feature will show us how to plant them.
Trees are often considered the lungs of the earth. As part of their life cycle, they take in carbon dioxide and release oxygen into the atmosphere. Let's all continue this necessary part of keeping our planet healthy by planting more trees. And here's how you do it. First things first, decide what tree you will be planting. Is it one that will provide timber? Shade? Will it beautify your space or will you be eating its fruits? Once that's settled, you need to consider what kind of conditions it would need to grow. Naturally, some plants do better in some areas than others, while others need full exposure to sunlight versus those that can survive without direct light. And there's also the soil type to consider. Some trees thrive near seasides. Others prefer mountain areas, while certain trees are content in the valleys. Next up, space. Some trees grow wide, others tall. While you may be able to prune trees to keep them under control, some lose their essence when tamed. So, be sure to plant large trees in areas where they will have adequate space to grow. If you have a smaller space, consider growing a smaller tree that requires less pruning to keep it in check. Then there's the matter of your fully grown tree posing a threat to nearby structures. As a country situated in the hurricane belt, downed trees during times of disaster is a part of our reality. There's also the pesky issue of trees which shed their leaves profusely, and others with copious amounts of flowers and fruits, which might just be the cause of a dispute with your neighbor if planted near the fence. That being said, be sure to plant trees at a safe distance from walls, power lines, fences, sidewalks, and the very foundation of your house. Once you've considered all those tips, it's time to plant.
First step is to dig a hole, right? Not too deep, about a foot and a half, not too wide either, because you're not burying the plant. You're trying to provide a nice area for it to grow. Right? Upon digging your hole, if you notice that the soil type is clay, that is the kind of coarse soil type, you'd probably need topsoil. right? Because when you're putting back the soil, it's going to be a challenge for you. But after that, you dampen the soil, ensure that it's moist, provide a moist area or environment for the plant to be planted in. Ensure the plant is in the center of the hole. If you dig the hole a bit too deep, there's a process known as backfilling, right? That's when you put back the dirt into the soil to a certain height that is much favorable for you and for the plant. After you do that, you want to dampen the soil, right? Ensure the plant is in the center, because you end up having a plant to grow lean or to the side, because plants go into the direction of the sunlight. Ensure that the soil goes up to the root collar. Now the root collar is where the stem and the root of the plant or the root plug meet, right? You don't want to go above that. Once you do finish that, you water it, then you stake it. When I say stake, you take either a bamboo stake or a regular stake, put a flagging tape beside onto it and put it beside the plant. That is you marking the plant. So once you're doing any maintenance, you yourself or any other individual in the area can know that, hey, there's something planted there, so you don't end up wasting your effort and time when planting. The most important thing is watering after and nurturing the plants. So you water early mornings and late evenings. If you water in between those times, especially in the afternoons, the plant will end up struggling with the intake of the water, right? Because the sun is going to be evaporating at the same time it's trying to take in the nutrients. You can also mulch, fertilize, or add kaya dust or sawdust to the mound to lock in moisture for the plant.
And there you have it, a step-by-step demonstration of how to plant a tree.
If you've ever wondered what your property taxes are used for, wonder no more. Your property taxes provide revenue for the provision of public and community amenities throughout Jamaica, which are delivered by local government officials. When you pay your property taxes, you aid with the maintenance and expansion of our street lighting to ensure you are not walking in the dark at nights, the collection and disposal of solid waste to prevent the pileup of garbage in communities, the improvement of our community infrastructure, and repairs to fire stations and service vehicles, along with rehabilitation of our roads. Pay your property taxes online, in line or via mobile tax units, and avoid being sought by the government. For more information, visit the Tax Administration website at www.jamaicatax.gov.jm or call 876-902-9463.
We've reached the end of our program. Get a recap of everything you saw here and more on our website, jis.gov.jm. I'm Audrey Williams. Bye for now.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.